TYT Sports, talking more boxing with our guy Robert Exel, the editor-in-chief of boxing.com. Robert, how are you today?
I'm good. And yourself, Rick?
Doing good. Dereck Chisora and David Haye, two animals about to go at it. They had to be separated. Well, at least it was a publicity stunt in their press conference prior to, at least, when a fence was put up between the two fighters, basically to make them out to look like caged animals. We all know what happened last year when Dereck Chisora lost to, was it Vitali? He lost to Vitali Klitschko. David Haye lost to Wladimir. Chisora lost to Vitali Klitschko. And David Haye was in the back of the press room talking basically shit to Dereck Chisora post-fight. Chisora goes out and they start fighting, throwing bottles. And then you keep hearing Chisora say, he glassed me, as in David Haye hit Dereck Chisora with a glass on the head. You saw him bleeding. Bad blood between these two guys. But Jeff Powell, this may provide some color to us in the States, at least, with this fight. Jeff Powell of the Daily Mail had this to say: two loudmouthed heavies who have disgraced our country will resume the ugly and demeaning brawl they started on a barroom floor in Munich. What do you say, Robert? How do you react to that?
What do I say? Bravo, Jeff Powell. I mean, he really held it. You've got two fighters, both of whom have lost to the Klitschkos, both of whom disgraced themselves and the sport. I mean, Haye with his running around, using his broken toe excuse, not fighting, removing his shoe, a complete embarrassment. And then, of course, Chisora, we forget about his performance. I mean, he performed beautifully in the ring against a one-armed Vitali Klitschko, but we forget about what happened before the fight when he slapped Klitschko, and Klitschko didn't respond. And that was during the pre-fight press conference. And then in the ring, remember, he walks up to Wladimir Klitschko and spits water in his face. I mean, we forget that these guys are both, I mean, animals, as you put it, perhaps great showmen, perhaps, but certainly not a credit to the sport in any way at all. So this is a bit of a freak show, but it doesn't mean that it won't be a freak show that's exciting while it lasts.
Immaturity would be the best way to describe Dereck Chisora and David Haye. Jeff Powell continues from the Daily Mail. The marketing of Chisora and Haye as two animals needing to be kept apart by a wire fence until they are set upon each other in the vicinity of the new Olympic Park casts a dark shadow over the approaches to London 2012. Fortunately, the game starts soon enough for that stain to be quickly expunged. Degeneration comes before regeneration. Give me a reaction, Robert. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he's sort of going to town there. I mean, I'm all for sort of moralizing, but I mean, there's a limit to this. I mean, let's look at the Olympic Games for goodness sakes, which are as scandal-prone as boxing if you go back in Olympic history. So, I mean, he can put down Haye Chisora as much as he wants, but to do so while elevating the Olympics to some sort of Olympian height seems absolutely a bit over the top to me. A little perspective would go a long way. And, I mean, Haye Chisora is a freak show. But, I mean, the Olympics is as scandal-prone in its way as boxing has been.
Well, let's stay with this fight for just a moment. How I see it, at least how Jeff Powell and many other England writers are portraying it, is that this is the battle of two guys that you don't want either one of them really to win, but one of them has to. Do you think that he's sort of downplaying this fight and how big it might be, saying that, resuming the ugly and demeaning brawl they started and the stain that will be expunged by the Olympics? Do you think he's just downplaying how big of a fight this is for Great Britain?
Well, it is a big fight for Great Britain, and also, I mean, we don't know what's going to result. I mean, it could be a thrilling heavyweight contest. How long has it been since we've had a thrilling heavyweight contest? I can't remember the last time. We don't know what's going to happen. We have a couple of guys very unpredictable. Both of them, when they're on their game, are fine fighters, and I think both of them feel as though it's not just a grudge match. I mean, they really want to go out there and win because the winner of this fight gets a shot at the heavyweight title, presumably, if either Klitschko will deign to fight either of these two fighters. So it could be an exciting evening of boxing.
Plus, the rumor is if Chisora wins, he will try and at least fight Wladimir Klitschko, so we'll see how that goes. By the way, I just want to ask you a quick question. If David Haye loses, will he blame the loss on his toe?
Well, if not his toe, some other bodily part. I mean, clearly, the character, David Haye's character, has been revealed more than once. Last I heard, he had retired and he was off to Hollywood to turn himself into an action star. And lo and behold, here he is back in boxing again. So I take a strong view of David Haye.
Well, clearly he didn't make the cut in many auditions out here in Hollywood. Dereck Chisora, 15-3, 9 knockouts. David Haye, 25-2, 23 knockouts. I mean, David Haye is still a very good opponent, a very good fighter. But let me ask you this first about Dereck Chisora. Did he start fighting at a late age? Because he only has 18 fights under his belt as a pro, and he's 28 years old. What's up?
Well, I think he did start at a late age, and again, he's had problems with his weight. I mean, obviously, he has problems with his head. I think he's a guy who has problems in general. But again, I mean, if he comes to fight, and if Haye comes to fight, I mean, there's two very big ifs there. We could have a really explosive heavyweight contest on our hands, and I'm hoping that that's the case, that nothing untoward happens, and that we actually get what it is we're paying for.
David Haye is making £2 million on this fight. Dereck Chisora is making £500,000 on this fight. However, we should applaud them for one thing, and I'm dead serious about this. They both agreed to pay $31,000 to the charity of their choice if one knocks out the other. So at least they have that going for them. By the way, there are also 29,000 spectators in attendance at the press conference. So let's get back to David Haye. Outside the ring issues aside, does he still have the power? Does he still have the grit? Does he still have the speed, the combinations to beat and knock out Dereck Chisora?
Well, it remains to be seen. How far back in David Haye's career do you want to go? I mean, do you want to go back 3 fights, or do you want to go back 1 fight? It depends which David Haye shows up. I'm not so sure that David Haye, that this is simply not another ploy to make some more money. He showed his heart, or lack thereof, when he fought Wladimir Klitschko. Again, that was his last fight. Again, we can go back 3 fights and see how he then. When he fought the Russian giant, Valuev. It depends on which David Haye is going to show up Saturday.
Well, we could go back to his last win, even, which was in 2010 against, I believe, Audley Harrison, yes, by TKO. Again, David Haye, 31 years old, 6'3", 78-inch reach, compared to Dereck Chisora, 28 years old, 6 foot tall, 74-inch reach. Dereck Chisora, by the way, obviously losing to Vitali Klitschko. He has lost 3 of his last 4 fights and does not have a win since, what do you know, 2010. They have a lot more in common than you would probably think. So at the end of the day, do you think Dereck Chisora gives David Haye a run for his money? Do you think he's competitive in this fight?
I do, oddly enough. I think Haye has certainly got the physical advantages and in terms of experience and everything. But for some reason, I find it hard to get behind David Haye. Not so much behind Dereck Chisora, but it's a little easier. So I think that's where that's the direction in which I'm leaning.
I don't think it's easy to get behind either of them, to be honest with you. But, I mean, all we could hope for, basically, is a good fight. I think that it will be. I think it'll be competitive. Who knows if one will get knocked out or if, you know, Dereck Chisora wins for, I don't know, the first 6 rounds. David Haye will be running around the ring like he did against Wladimir Klitschko. So at the end of the night, I'm still unsure about who I think is going to win. What do you say? Who do you got?
I'm sort of unsure myself, and even though I will be watching and will be covering the fight, neither my heart nor my soul is in it. So I'm sort of this one's up for grabs at the moment.
If you had to give me one, who do you think?
Well, if I had to give you one, I'd have to lean with Haye. I mean, Haye just has the superior experience, the superior skills, and again, if he comes to fight, if he uses his gift in the ring, and not just simply to, you know, as a way to generate more capital, he ought to win the fight. So
now, the winner of this fight, obviously, Chisora has fought Vitali, David Haye has fought Wladimir Klitschko. As I agree with you, Dereck Chisora's fight against against Vitali was much better than David Haye's against Wladimir Klitschko. Let's say David Haye wins. Does he fight Vitali Klitschko?
I don't think the Klitschkos are going to touch him with a 10-foot pole. They're not going to give him the opportunity. I mean, he has. They voiced often enough, and Wladimir just voiced last week. He said, I'm not interested in either of these fighters. Both of them lost to Klitschko's. I mean, they're not going to give David Haye a big payday. Why should they? And the same applies to Dereck Chisora. Both of these guys behaved disgracefully to these two class acts, the Klitschko's, and love them or hate them, or not. They are class acts, the classiest of class acts, and frankly, both Haye and Chisora acted in a classless fashion.
Certainly. The Klitschkos are true champions, and they are very, very classy, even if you think, I know that many of our viewers at least will think that they are boring fighters. But let me ask you this last question for you. Let's say David Haye does win, or even Dereck Chisora. Should the winner of this fight, should they have to fight someone like Tyson Fury, maybe one of those fighters?
There you go. Now you're talking. Yeah, they can fight Tyson Fury. They can fight David Price. They can fight Chris Arreola. There are plenty of heavyweight contenders out there that they can fight. They can continue to make money, and they can continue to fight. But Klitschkos are not going to touch them. They're not going to give them the opportunity. There's no reason that they need to. And these are principled men. And then, frankly, I mean, I admire them for their principles, to be perfectly frank.
Robert Exel, the editor-in-chief of Boxing.com. You can follow him on Twitter at boxing_com, and obviously follow his great writing at www.boxing.com. Robert Exel, thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the fights on Saturday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great, Rick. Talk to you soon.